time for another Child Month edition of Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for turning the pages. Packaged perfectly for you today are a host of child-friendly reminders and information that will equip you with the right dose of knowledge you need to celebrate Child Month 2020 despite the COVID-19 outbreak. Don't you dare move a muscle. I'll be back before you know it.
The National Parenting Support Commission urges parents to send the right messages. No group is responsible for COVID-19. We have to practice the right values and attitudes. Our children are always listening to us. We need to teach them to respect and love everyone. The National Parenting Support Commission cares.
Sign with me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Sign with me.
Unplug negativity, connect positivity, think. By now, I'm sure you all know that that's the theme for Child Month 2020. This year's theme challenges parents and guardians to help their children identify the positives amidst the COVID-19 outbreak. Interesting, right? Learn more next.
Child Month 2020 is upon us, and the theme that is driving this year's commemoration is Unplug Negativity, Connect Positivity, Think. In light of the COVID-19 outbreak, the National Child Month Committee of Jamaica could not have chosen a more timely theme this year. Parents and guardians are being reminded that, despite the negative impact of the virus, they must help their children identify and embrace the positive aspects of the pandemic. Believe it or not, COVID-19 has its fair share of benefits, not just for nature and wildlife due to a less busy and polluted world, but also for us as humans. Let's explore. One of the most obvious benefits of the COVID-19 outbreak is that family members are now able to spend more quality time together due to the government's distance learning and work-from-home policies. Parents have more time on their hands to do more activities with their children, and in doing more, they're learning more about them. Children are now able to bond with them and develop a greater sense of belonging and purpose. Spending more time at home as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak also allows families to carry out more routines that can support children's health and well-being. Routines help children to know what to expect and what is expected of them. It helps to build their confidence, time management skills, and their ability to behave in different situations. Routines such as regular washing of hands, daily exercise, and dance time help children to stay healthy and hygienic too. They may also reduce stress, and lowering stress is good for children's immune systems. Now more than ever, children are able to explore and embrace the abundance of knowledge on every subject area that's available to them at their fingertips online. COVID-19 forces children and parents to discover new digital ways to learn. They get to learn about the new online sites, learning apps, and websites that are credible and safe. On a similar note, the COVID-19 pandemic is helping us to stay connected with others in creative ways. Though the outbreak requires families to practice social distancing, communication with our friends and loved ones must go on. These may include creating e-cards and participating in group video calls, virtual birthday parties, and virtual church services. These online interactions can teach children digital literacy and enable them to thrive in today's highly technological world. How can I forget that the COVID-19 pandemic is giving children more me time? They no longer have to wake extremely early to get ready for school. They can now stay in bed a little later. They have more time to do the things they enjoy, such as art and craft, reading novels, and developing their skills. These are just a few of the advantages of the coronavirus outbreak that are evident around us, but I'm sure others exist. Let's take the time to discover other benefits and instill positive values and attitudes in our children. Help them to become critical thinkers and solution-oriented so that they can unplug the negativities and connect to the positives around us each day.
I encourage the deaf children to have deaf pride, to know that they can. You're on the same level as a hearing person. It doesn't matter that you can't hear. You have a lot of deaf adults who are successful, and you can achieve. You can get the education that you want, you can do anything that you want, you can achieve. Don't feel like you can't because you're deaf.
In believing that nothing is impossible, I have been able to culture a very positive attitude to life, and that positive attitude has worked for me, and I am confident it will work for others. I would want to say to persons with vision impairment and disabilities that it is critical that they become tooled or retooled with the appropriate technologies that can help to drive the way forward so that they can accomplish their vision and their goals.
Children with disabilities, whether you have CP or not, I strongly believe that you have a purpose. My disability has taught me that when it says the sky is the limit, it is. There are times when you're going to fall, but what is to stop you from rising?
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
During a press conference on Monday, Minister with Oversight for Education, Carl Samuda, revealed numerous changes to the education sector in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. These include a new date for the reopening of schools and changes to this year's assessment of national examinations, such as the Primary Exit Profile, PEP. Watch now for more details.
We have done a comprehensive review and study of the situation, which has arisen as a result of the COVID-19 breakout. The situation now is one where, through consultation with all stakeholders, including the JTA, we have met and we have reviewed the policies best able to guide us constructively as we go towards the opening of school, which will be in September. Our total recurrent budget is $115.039 billion, and the capital budget is $1.5 billion. It is within this context that we are determined to use these funds constructively to ensure that we do not overrun our budget and that we do not allow this outbreak to in any way frustrate the efforts of those hard-working members of the team that make such a wonderful contribution to the development of education in the country. It is important to put things in context, Prime Minister. And in summary, the Ministry of Education is responsible for 5 categories, 4 primary categories of students. Students at the pre-primary level, the primary level, the secondary level, and the tertiary level. The total institutions that we have to work with, monitor, and support amounts to 2,941. And the total enrollment through all of these various areas within the ministry amounts to 557,000 children. We have a total cohort of teachers of 32.6 thousand. So you can see by any stretch that this is quite an extensive ministry that has a lot to do with many, many people, many professionals who give of themselves selflessly in pursuit of the education of our children, something so critical and vital to the development of Jamaica. Online and distance learning will continue until July the 3rd. Schools will not physically reopen until the next school year beginning on September the 7th, 2020. There will be a process of assessment and learning for the first 20 days after school reopens so that we can get a good feel for the level at which each child is, because they have been denied, many of them, an opportunity to experience the classroom environment. So we have to reintegrate them, in a sense, re-energize them, make them as enthusiastic about school as they were before this outbreak. The examinations that usually at this time of the year determines the placement of students from grade 6 into high school, grade 7, we will use, instead of the PEP in its classical sense, we will use aspects of it to determine how to place the children. We will use grade 4 numeracy and literacy exams done in 2018. Grade 5 performance task, which comprises maths, English, arts, social studies, and sciences, which was done in 2019. We will, in addition, use the results of the grade 6 ability test done in February 2020. And we will use these grades to determine the placement at the secondary level. We recognize that it is not a perfect world anymore. And we recognize that it is not as scientifically based as was the previous year. And we are expecting that it will return to normalcy next year. But this year, we cannot do anything that will compromise the progress for our children. So we are going to use this technique. The placements will be released on June 26, 2020. We are already advanced in the preparation of those placements, but we have to make sure that they are properly checked and cross-checked and assessed, and they will be released on June 26, 2020. The end of secondary exams. The examination bodies have proposed the following. With respect to the CXC, assessment for late June, July, or September, October. The administration of multi-choice papers, either online or by paper base, will be the methods used. A final decision will be made at the CARICOM heads of government, at which the Prime Minister will attend and will help to determine the final, virtually, and will finally make the decision, and you'll be guided by that decision. With respect to the City and Guilds examinations, the proposal is to use calculated results. This will include teacher assessor estimates, grades and judgments of the results. Students, approximately 30,000, will participate in this assessment. And this has their full agreement and support. The National Council on Technical Vocational Education and Training, the NCT-VET, the proposal is to use online testing of the theoretical component of the assessment. Students approximately number 18,000. Whilst we have negotiated subsidized plans from Digicel and Flow for all teachers and students, we know there is still much more to be done. We cannot continue to have a situation where approximately 30% of our cohort live in areas where they have no internet facilities, and that poses a threat to them. And we have spoken to the teachers in those areas several times, and we are making every effort to ensure that we cover those areas thoroughly. There are currently 238 schools in remote areas without internet access. The aim is to have these 238 schools served by Ready TV that has come forward and put together a very constructive plan, which has now been put in place, and they're about the business of accessing those, allowing those communities within that area, 100 to start with. Installations are to begin on those first 100 this week. So at least by the end of this week, I'm expecting, or within, let us say, 2 weeks, we will have access in these 100 communities, which will be a tremendous relief to the teachers and the students alike in those areas. In addition, recognizing that we need to step it up in technology, e-learning will provide 40,000 tablets for children to assist them when the lectures are sent to them, downloaded, and they're able to work with these tablets. Gone are the days when we consider tablets luxuries. It is a tool as much the same way that years ago a pen was. 1,195 in student tablets are available, and 2,000 being cleared as we speak. The distribution will start by the end of May, so the kids and the teachers have a lot to look forward this month. The ministry is currently procuring an additional 7,000 tablets for needy children, children that need special attention. So we are not leaving them out of the loop at all. This is an all-embracive strategy. And tertiary level institutions will make their own decisions regarding closing the current year and the beginning of the next school year.
For over 40 years, the European Union and Jamaica have enjoyed a partnership built on shared values, trust, and respect. Through a joint cooperation program, the EU is supporting Jamaica to achieve its development goals outlined in Vision 2030. Key areas of support include justice, financial reform, poverty reduction, health, environmental protection, and agriculture. Jamaica and the European Union, promoting sustainable development and creating opportunities for all Jamaicans.
Europe Day is celebrated annually on May 9, but this year's celebrations start today, May 8. Listen now as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, joins in the celebration by thanking the European Union for their partnership and solidarity with Jamaica over the years.
As we reflect on our 45-year partnership, Jamaica extends warmest greetings to the EU and its citizens for Europe Day. Europe Day 2020 focuses on the solidarity of Europeans in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. Its hashtag, Europeans Against COVID, signals that during these times of crisis across the European Union, countries, regions, and cities, indeed across the world, there must be greater collaboration with each other as we all need a helping hand. The EU's recent donation of 29 ventilators to Jamaica's health system demonstrates yet again the Union's enduring commitment to the partnership and solidarity with Jamaica at this challenging time. The government and the people of Jamaica are extremely appreciative of this gesture. We wish all EU citizens a truly rewarding Europe Day 2020 as we work together to overcome this crisis. Together, we will.
Did you know that the EU has been doing a lot of work in Jamaica? The EU provided some 23 billion Jamaican dollars to help people living in sugar-dependent areas. This means new houses for sugar estate workers, rehabilitated roads, improved schools, health centers, vocational training, business grants, and a wide range of action to improve the lives of people in sugar-dependent areas.
Life sweeter for true with the EU.
Europe Day celebrates the peace and unity that exists within the European Union. Member states join hands and hearts to help nations overcome challenges such as the current global COVID-19 pandemic. Up next, head of the EU delegation to Jamaica, Ambassador Malgorzata Wasilewska, shares how her delegation has been of help to Jamaica during this time.
The celebration of Europe Day 2020 is unique for at least two reasons. This year marks 45 years of our very fruitful partnership. And secondly, it comes at a time when Jamaica, the region and the world is fighting a war against the coronavirus, which threatens the health and well-being of people everywhere. It also seriously undermines the national, regional and global economies. Within this context, the most urgent challenge is for the people of the world at large to work together to combat this devastating disease and to ensure that people everywhere, regardless of geographical location or economic status, have a fighting chance to survive and thrive beyond. As we all know, Europe too is facing its own struggles with this ruthless pandemic. Too many lives have sadly been lost. But we remain committed to the principle of solidarity, which compels us to work together in the common interest of all people around the world. For one of the lessons this experience has been teaching us is that our best chance for survival and recovery is to fight this epidemic together. This is why, as part of the European Union's support, we have decided to immediately reorient all our assistance programs with the Caribbean and Latin America. Nearly €1 billion has been made available to our partners in the Caribbean and in Latin America as part of our worldwide response to support partner countries' efforts to tackle COVID-19. In the Caribbean, the European Union, in partnership with the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, has mobilized a total amount of €8.5 million to cater for the region's most urgent needs in managing the fight against this virus. This funding will help to increase the region's capacity to detect, monitor, and respond to the COVID-19 pandemic in a coordinated way. Here is hoping it will serve the people of the Caribbean well. Europe and Jamaica share a strong political and economic relationship that is growing stronger every day, and of which I am professionally and personally very proud. It is a partnership that is built on respect and trust and is intended to create value and benefit to the Jamaican people. In the most crucial moment of the pandemic, Europe has managed in the most timely manner to bring 29 ventilators for intensive care units, adding to the 25 that were already in the use of the public health system and effectively doubling the country's previous capacity. It is a real privilege for me personally to present this kind of assistance from the citizens of Europe to the people of Jamaica at such sensitive time. The ventilators are currently being distributed to hospitals across the country and medical personnel are being trained on how to use them. We are about also to finalize delivery of additional medical supplies and equipment, including, amongst others, monitors, infusion pumps, and ICU beds that can support treatment of Jamaicans who become infected with the coronavirus. These have already arrived from Europe and will be delivered to the government shortly. Couldn't be more timely. In closing, I would like to celebrate the 45 years of partnership between Jamaica and the European Union. It has always been a special relationship and a mutual commitment to doing all we can to ensure that everyone has a chance to live in peace and enjoy the right to a dignified life and health. The challenge has only just begun, and today, as we celebrate the 45 years of our relationship, we know only too well that we are stronger together.
Are you aware of how Jamaican adolescents use social media? What do they do online? What do they post? Do you know if they are being harassed? These are questions you should be asking yourself because it is your duty to keep your children safe online. Parents, here's what you need to do. Be active online and offline. Help your child to set up his or her online profile. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the different social media applications that they use and set some rules. Protect our nation's children and save them from cybercriminal attacks.
It is no doubt that as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak, children are now spending more time on their tablets, computers, and smartphones. Though these electronic tools come in handy for online classes and lessons, they're also being used by the younger generation to participate more on social media and to conduct internet browsing. It's no surprise then that parents and guardians must ensure that their children are protected whenever they enter cyberspace. 1. Teach them about online safety measures. Don't think they're too young to learn about some of the dangers of the internet, such as malware, dangerous websites, and child predators. Invest in antivirus softwares and parental control apps. Know their passwords and encourage them to keep it safe. 2. It's more difficult for sex offenders and online bullies to harass your child when you can see what they're up to. So ensure that children are frequently monitored online. Try not to let them go to bed with their laptops and phones. You may also keep internet time common areas, such as the living room, and check their browsing history. 3. Remind your children to never talk to strangers online. If your child is on social media, remind them that strangers are not their friends. Remind your children that people often lie about their age, and online predators often pretend to be children. Tell them to never reveal personal information like their name, address, phone number, school name, or even their friends' names. If we equip our children with these useful tips, then we are taking the requisite steps to make Jamaica a safer place for children and young people to live, work, raise their families, and do business. And that's all we have for you today on Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for staying with us for another informative show. While you go, do remember that you can rewatch today's program on our website, gis.gov.jm. Don't forget that you're also able to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for the latest information and news. I'm Audrey, reminding you to unplug negativity and connect to positivity today.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.